Demo 14 will provide details for the available API Diagnostics logging, which can help with the performance profiling and debugging of the APIs. The RESTful API writes debug logging into a file called restv2-diagnostics.log in the var log jetty directory upon the address manager. This file is only available via shell level access. Per RESTful API call made, there are 8 fields provided in the diagnostics output, and the purpose of each of these fields will now be outlined. The first field provided is a simple counter called ID. This is used to identify API calls in sequential order. The next field in the output, the T field, is an ISO 8601 date-time formatted string for documenting when the API call was executed. And the third C field is the IP address of the client which made the API call. The next HM field represents the HTTP verb or method used, for example get, post, etc., for this specific API call. Whilst the RP field is the resource path, which is the resource URI which was called, for example /sessions or /networks. And finally, the QP field documents any query parameters which were sent with the API call for processing, such as fields, pagination, or limits. The penultimate field in the output, the HS field, is the HTTP response code, for example 2001 created for a post or 2000 successful for a get. And the final field, D, documents the duration the request took in milliseconds. As well as the legacy logging of API debugging to a separate file as we've already shown, new for Integrity 9.5 and based upon customer feedback is the representation of the API debugging in the appliance's centralized syslog. Both the V1 and V2 API diagnostics files will also send their output to syslog automatically and can be filtered by the classification of Proteus API V1 or Proteus API V2. Demo 14 has shown how the new RESTful API provides API diagnostics logging upon the Address Manager appliance and how to access the debugging from the appliance's shell. Demo 14 has also provided a breakdown of the field data provided within the debugging for each API call made. And Demo 14 also provided insight into how both the V1 and V2 RESTful API send their diagnostics logging to the separate file and now write into the Address Manager's appliance's syslog at default in Integrity 9.5 onwards.